Hello and welcome back to Barkaways. No surprise, today we're talking Dinos again. 246 Dinos, we all know them, we all love them. Came out in about 1970, so you've got the 246 GT and you've got the 246 GTS that we've just finished here. But not many people know about the predecessor to this car. There was another one before this, came out in 1968, and it was the 206, and we've got one here. Now these are very, very rare. They only made about 150, 152 of these, and only 2 were ever imported into the UK. On the last count, and I know Mateus, who wrote the book on these things, did a lot of research on these, there was only about 80 cars left in the world, so these are starting to become super rare. And the point of this video, we're just about to restore a 206. One's been brought to us, it's been laid up for many years, and we're just about to do the full Barkaways restoration on it. So I thought I'd talk you just through some of the differences between an aluminium bodied 206 and a steel bodied 246, because you just don't see many of these, but there's a lot of differences on them. Before we start any restoration, because we can make cars clean and shiny and make them all work, but it's the history and the core of the car that's important. So we've already researched this car. It's a 1968 car. It is a genuine 206, we've checked all the chassis numbers and everything, and it's got matching engine number, gearbox number and body number. So we already know, because we can't change those things, and if the car's not right, then there's not much point in making it clean and shiny, so we know this car's right. So little things that are different on the 206, without going into the sort of mastermind thing here, things that stand out on the 206. Obviously it's got an aluminium body, so you can see it's got a seam here, which denotes, so this is all aluminium, this car. It is slightly smaller. We did one a few years ago. We went to Villa d'Este with it. Many of you might have seen it. It was a Oreo Charis champagne colour car. It's now gone off to live in the States. It's over there and they're enjoying it over there. So there are slightly smaller dimensions all the way round. You've got things like knock-on wheels, you can see, spinner on wheels, which are very much of the 60s. The door locks are in a different place. The door locks are up here in the torpedo tubes, as we call them, as opposed to down here where the 246s keep them. Things like, we know the screen is different. We had to have a screen made for the last one we did because it's actually different. Whilst it looks very similar to a 246, it's actually a completely different size. There's different amount of louvers in the engine hood. While we're talking engines, the engine's an all aluminium 2-litre engine in these, which is different to the cast iron block of the 246, the 2.4. So this is a 2-litre engine, but it's still developed about 180 horsepower, and we only went to 190, 195 with the 400 cc's more. So this is quite a masterpiece of an engine. It's a real scream of these ones. And if any of you have ever heard a 206, it sounds completely different. It's got a much softer tone to it. They make a very distinct noise, and we're going to make sure that this has got the correct exhaust system and it's all correct, so it'll make the 206 noise, which is, until you've heard it, you don't realise how different it is. Okay, so looking at the inside of a 206 opposed to a 246, obvious things that are different. Obviously we've got a wooden steering wheel. It's a much bigger steering wheel, and it was a wooden one, very much of the 60s. The seats are slightly different. The headrests are attached to the bulkhead of the car as opposed to the top of the seat, which is slightly different. And plastic seats, but they should have had from original like a lovely orange toweling insert on these. These have been done in vinyl, which is wrong, but this car, we've got the records, it should have had toweling seats. So we'll put them back to that. Other little things that are slightly different, the glove box is much bigger. It's a much longer glove box. Slightly different design from the 246. This has still got the original radio, and even on the bill of sale it's got that radio fitted. So one of the big things about this car is originality. Console wise is slightly different on the 206s, and a different design of ashtray, so we're really getting anal now. But the big thing of this car, it's all complete. It's got the right ashtray, it's got all the right stuff in it. All we've got to do is take it to pieces, clean it and put it back together again. So seatbelt wise, these are super, super rare. The last 206 we did, we really struggled on these and we couldn't get them. We call them parachute seat belts, and this has got them already fitted. So we can get these new webbing and that put in them, but to get these on those is super, super rare. You just cannot get those anymore. This is how I know this car's original, because not many people realise this is right. The grain on the main console goes front to rear. The grain on the two oval sections, front and rear, go left to right. It looks wrong, but that's how they did them from the factory. It must have just been a way of saving material or something. I don't know why they did it like that, but that's how I know this is correct, and it's probably the original plastic that's been there since 1960s. Something else you don't see very often on Dinos is wind-up windows. All the early cars, especially the 206, had wind-up windows. Years ago, we did the silver 1970 Motor Show car, which was the first 246 Dino. And that had electric windows, so that's probably one of the first cars that had electric windows. Going back, these were expensive cars. No, these weren't cheap, so having electric windows would have been a real luxury back in the day. But it's quite nice to see one, just old-fashioned wind-up ones. It sounds a bit clicky, but we get that working as well. Something else that's really visibly different on the 206 is its external fuel filler. The 246 has it covered with a little cap. The 206 has an external exposed filler, just something that's obviously different. Engine-wise, now as I said earlier, there's quite a lot of differences on the engine. They run different carburetors. You only get one oil filler as opposed to two. This is real geeky stuff. Obviously, aluminium block as opposed to an iron block, and the cam covers are magnesium. So getting these off is a bit tricky because they obviously just break like glass. So you have to be really careful with these. And they also had a different finish. The later 246s and the later cars had a sort of satin alloy effect because they were made of aluminium. These were actually painted in a sort of funny greeny goldy coppery colour. A few years ago we spent a long time with Matthias Bartz researching this, and even he struggled to get the right colour, but we've now got the right colour nailed for these cam covers, so that's what they go back to. So down to the front and looking under the front, other little subtle differences. It looks very similar to a 246, but for the real anal sort of bits, this servo cover is different. And it's only the 206s have this little riveted lip here. The later cars have a more just straight moulded piece, so that's going to stay. We'll repair that. Fuse board, obviously the electrics on this, they're going to need a lot of loving, so we'll put a new loom in this car. And down the front, on the fan motors on the 206s are a more rectangle. They're the Lucas type rectangular fan motors as opposed to the Smiths round motors that go on the 246s. So again, this has got the correct motors on, so we can overhaul those. So the overall view of this car, it's got pretty much all its original features. So taking it apart and cleaning it and putting it back together is a whole lot better than some of the cars we've started with that arrived in boxes with half the bits missing. So this makes this car really worth doing. It's going to be really special. Other things that you'll notice on the aluminium cars, when you look up the gullies, you'll see a series of pot rivets around the gullies. This denotes that it's an alloy car, and the alloy body is bolted to a steel frame underneath. Obviously it's going to need a lot of aluminium work, so what we're actually going to do is remove the front of this car, remove the back, strip all the doors down and get this back to a bare skeleton, and then media blast the skeleton, and then repair the aluminium, and then work to putting it all back on again. So we'll be taking all these rivets out, but it's an easy way of seeing whether it's a steel or an alloy car. So while we're down the front end, another little sort of ear and anal tip on 206s and 246s is front bumpers. All the 206s and the very, very early Dinos had these much slimmer bumpers, very dainty, small, much thinner bumpers. You can see here the 246s had much fatter bumpers. So these have got lost, rusted, corroded, disappeared over the years. So there's not many that you see that are original. We're going to have to get some bits remade for this car because most people put 246 bumpers on because these are more available. So to get the original bumpers is really rare. Obviously other slight differences, colour-coded indicators. The 206 have white ones, 246 have orange ones. And another one more up the front, Corello front lights. Again, super rare, very hard to get hold of, but this car's got its original lights in it. So we get those refurbished as well. So we've looked on top of the car. Obviously, going around the top of the interior is one thing, but looking underneath the car is a whole new ballgame. So I mentioned that why 206s make a completely different noise. Now the silencer system is completely different, and they've got smaller bore outlet pipes. The other thing that's different on the 206s is the manifold setup. They've got these extra cans on. They look like little moped silencers, as we call them. Most of these are long gone. You can't get them anymore. We'll have to get them specially made, but at least this has got patterns on. This has got its original system on. This is one of the beauties of this car, its originality. So moving backwards, we've already looked at engine numbers. We've got an engine, there's no holes in the block or anything. We've seen these before with holes in the blocks and all sorts. We've got a load of oil leaks, but we're not too worried about those. We'll sort those out, but it all looks original. Main chassis legs all look pretty good. Suspension wise, yes, we've got the correct, they run different brake calipers and different handbrake setup on the 206s. It's all just slightly different, but it's all there and it's all correct. So again, refurbishing something is a whole lot different to trying to find new ones, because you just can't get them for these old cars. These cars have a aluminium under tray that go right from the chassis section here all the way down the door seals, all the way up to the front, and so this is all sealed in. And what's happened here, obviously, it's retained the moisture and the inside tubes are just rotten, the whole lot's gone. It's it's not unusual to see the smaller bits of tubing rust out because they're quite small, but this is the main chassis leg of this car's gone. You can see it's just absolutely rotted out. And this is fairly thick chassis tubing, so I mean, I know this is a 1968 car, it's taken 50 odd years for this to happen, but it's happened. So we've got to take the floors out, strip the whole car completely down, and we're going to replace these chassis tubes, rejig the car. So this is where the restoration takes on a whole new meaning on this one. Front's pretty much the same as the back. Where it hasn't been contained to retain the moisture and rot out, it's actually okay. So after we've meter blasted this, it's probably going to be all right. We've got the correct radiator, we've got the correct air horns, we've got the correct suspension and wishbones, we've got the correct brake calipers. So this is a sort of refurbished area, a bit like the back, but it's the middle of this car that's really going to take the work. And there's the difference between inspecting a car and inspecting a car. You've got to take the under trays off, because you can see if you looked at this car front and back, it'd be okay. You take the middle section out and it's a whole different story. So we're going to share this restoration with you. The owner has agreed that very kindly that we can share this with you. So we're going to take you through the Barkways restoration on how we're going to restore this beautiful 206 Dino.